يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تخونوا الله والرسول وتخونوا رسولك صلى الله عليه وسلم أيها خيانة
إنسان وحكم الجيران وأنا صدق وحيك جراسي في علو أركي كرايو حتى هدان لسوق
حلوان حسين حلوان جواهر أحمد علمي
حلوان جواهر أحمد علمي وعوض
حلوان عباس عبد الله حلوان هذا الإنسان علي.
What we witnessed in that hangar was a very exemplary election. And the way the incumbent very gracefully admitted defeat, it is something befitting a statesman who saw beyond his own pride, who saw beyond his own interests, and made sure that everything went peacefully, that he, for the sake of peace and stability, just did away with the possibility of continuing to contest up to the end and accepted defeat. This in Somalia. And once it happened, the shootings were heard were shootings of celebration, not of Al-Shabaab being able to disrupt the process. And this is in Somalia. So really is something to register and something historic. And we, as Amisom, we are very proud. We take pride to have been associated to such a very important and historic moment in the history of New Somalia.
محمد عبدي حير ماريا.
I must say that the collaboration between Amisom Police, Amisom Army, and the Somali National Army, Somali National Security Forces, and the Somali National Police was just extraordinary. They complemented each other. They shared information like they did never before. They faced the enemy together. They undertook coordinated search operations, mop-up operations. They activated many devices from Al-Shabaab. They escorted the population and the electors, the elders, from certain points to the voting places. They secured the voting centers, and thanks God and thanks to their work, it all went well. This in Somalia, and once it happened, the shootings were heard, were shootings of celebration, law and order, and jobs. He did put as his priority to ensure that Somalia has a functioning national security services, army, police, and intelligence. He has put as his priority to make sure that his soldiers are paid timely. He made also sure that put as a priority that his soldiers and his police get uniform, get the equipment they need to do their work properly. This is one of the main priorities. But of course, security is not just having army and police. Security is many other things. So the government must govern, and the president has put it clear that he wants to strengthen the institutions of state to ensure that the authority of the government is felt all throughout the country, that the administration functions and then is close to the population, and that it provides what it needs to provide the people. Roads, schools, health centers, markets, law and order, and jobs for the youth so that they don't fall victim of Al-Shabaab. And of course, the reconciliation process. He believes that he should bring all the Somalis together. And in that, I really feel that he has hit the point. If these priorities of his are put in place in earnest, we might see changes to come in the near future. The challenges were that we had the entire country to protect, and Al-Shabaab had the entire country to destroy. So we had an enemy that was sneaky, invisible, and opportunistic. And we had to deal with such an enemy. And at the same time, observe the most strict humanitarian law, the human rights principles, and the human rights due diligence policy. It reflects, it's a much better position to reflect the actual feeling of the majority of the population in Somalia. The priorities after the election is to continue to work with the government to make sure, first and foremost, that we continue to disrupt and degrade Al-Shabaab in a manner that it does not pose problems to the existing administrations and governments. We have to continue to remove Al-Shabaab from the remaining strongholds to make sure that it does not hold any town. We have to be sure that we continue to pursue Al-Shabaab wherever it is and destroy its equipment and put out of action its soldiers. And together with this, to prepare the Somali National Security Forces to take over from us, as we have a very tight timetable and we need to leave and go home. To the Somali, first, congratulations. To the Amisom, congratulations again. They have been extraordinary. They worked hard. They spared no effort to ensure that the mission is properly accomplished. And they were extremely successful. They sacrificed their lives, they sacrificed their effort, they spent sleepless nights, and all this just to implement instructions received from the African Union. All this just to reaffirm the Pan-African nature of our organization. All this to say that Africa must remain united. So we literally had living heroes during this process. We saw them. These are really Pan-African heroes.